Hello everybody. So today I'm going to be eating a fresh grain-fed steak from the supermarket. That's right, just the conventional store brand meat. Before I do eat, just wanted to say my cold seems to be going completely away now. I think it's almost gone. I have a day off tomorrow, so I'm gonna be basically spending a lot of time outside, just like eat a ton of raw meat and raw eggs, and just get as much sleep as I possibly can. And that brings me to my next point. Last night I got another good night of sleep. Finally, put my phone down before, staying up super late, and it feels so much better. Just wanted to say, don't overlook sleep. Don't think that just because you eat raw meat that you can overlook something like sleep. I think sleep is maybe almost as important as your diet. There's like some study out there with I guess there's a lot of studies, there's a lot of research, a lot of like tests and experiments with sleep, and obviously athletes and people who need to perform really highly, if they don't get enough sleep, they're going to be performing at a very low level compared to what they could be performing at. So just think about that, Also, you're just going to be much more unhappy with yourself. But I would say if you're struggling to even start eating raw meat, but you're sleeping 4-5 hours a night, I think there's something else that you need to focus on. It's that. Also, on another note, before you start eating raw meat, one thing you also might want to focus on, if this is too much for you, is maybe just working on your mental health. Recently I had received some really good advice and learned some really valuable information about mental health and trauma and just the way that you handle events that happen emotionally. And I learned that I had been doing it all wrong. And it was like such a profound realization, but such an easy thing to understand and come to terms with. Let me actually pull up the name of one of the books. I'll drop the name of one of these books here so you guys understand. So one of them, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about, it's going to be, let me just go ahead and pull up the description of it. I'm not going to try to go in. Let's go here. I'm going to go to my Goodreads really quickly, just one moment. I'm going to take a look at the description of this. Just so you guys understand what I'm saying, because I can say something like that, but I'm not really going to be able to explain it too well. Basically, so here's the description on Goodreads. What would it be like to free yourself from limitations and soar beyond your boundaries? What can you do each day to discover inner peace and serenity? The Untethered Soul offers simply a profound answer to these questions. Whether this is your first exploration of inner space, or you've devoted your life to the inward journey, this book will transform your relationship with yourself and the world around you. You'll discover what you can do to put an end to the habitual thoughts and emotions that limit your consciousness. By tapping into... Okay, my alarm totally ruined that video. That was my last alarm to wake up for work, which I have 2 alarms set, and what I'll usually do is I'll sleep past the first alarm and wake up on the second one. But now I'm waking up before my first alarm, now that I'm getting enough sleep. Isn't that amazing? Anyways, where did we leave off? By tapping into traditions of meditation and mindfulness, author and spiritual teacher Michael A. Singer shows how the development of consciousness can enable us all to dwell in the present moment and let go of painful thoughts and memories that keep us from achieving happiness and self-realization. One of the things that this book talks about, something that really resonated with me, was how when, let's say, something happens and it reminds you of something that was traumatic that happened to you, oftentimes, because we don't know how to handle these things, we let those thoughts kind of control us, and it drains our energy. Or say you're dealing with a difficult customer at work, And it just you know, that draining feeling when you're talking to them. Maybe the conversation's going on way too long. Maybe there's like just absolutely just hitting you with all kinds of like guilt trips, trying to make you feel responsible for their pain and suffering. And after that encounter, you just feel like you just pass out because it's just so draining to you, and then it ruins the rest of your day. Something that this book talks about is you have to be able to, in that situation, just kind of let go of that encounter. Just kind of, take a deep breath, let it go away. Obviously, it's more in depth than that, but it also is that simple. And then also, if something happened to you a while ago that you've kind of just been holding on to, letting yourself understand, like, okay, this emotion is coming up. Maybe something, reminds you of something. You let that emotion come up, and then what you do is you just kind of, in your brain, just how, you can like look at your arm and see like, my arm hurts. Maybe you got stabbed in the arm and you're like, ouch, I need to attend to my arm. Do that with like your thoughts. Treat your thoughts as like a body part. Look down at your thoughts and say to yourself like, yeah, I see that my brain hurts, my thoughts are painful right now, but I understand that. And then when you let yourself feel that, I'm not saying like you sit there and you like cry and you bawl your eyes out or something like sad, but when you let your brain feel that, and then you acknowledge it, and you don't try to really fight it, you just kind of let it pass, it actually just kind of goes away, which is crazy. It's like you don't have to sit there and let it drain your energy. You don't have to let it consume your energy, and you can just move on and just keep going. But yeah, so those two things that I learned from the book, they really like helped out. But yeah, like again, if you can't eat raw meat, this is too much for you, maybe consider doing a couple of things like that. Sleep, and maybe read a good book about how to the things. Something like this will also improve your life greatly. But anyways, because we are past that stage, we are in so deep with the raw meat, this is no problem for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and we're gonna eat this raw meat for you. Okay. Here we go. Really, this stuff is very tasty. I don't know which hand I want to cut with and which hand I want to use my fork with. My left hand's so useless. But I think I'll cut with my left hand. And the white stuff here, that is just ground trim fat from Frankie's Free Range Meat. About a half a pound of raw steak. Fresh, unfrozen. Lately, all I'm craving is like meat and fat. The consistency of fresh meat is so nice. And if you guys didn't know, which most of you probably do, there was a study that autogenous references I think the study was done on like cats or dogs or something like that, where he gives the cats or dogs, one group of them eats frozen meat, one of them eats fresh meat. I think the ones that ate the frozen meat were like dying, and don't quote me on this, they were like having issues, skin issues particularly, maybe, I think. And then the ones who ate only the fresh foods, they were doing significantly better. It's a very interesting thing to take into consideration. I think that alone is kind of a powerful thing when you're deciding, like, should I eat like fresh grain-fed beef, which is not the best, or like frozen grass-fed beef. It's kind of interesting, like doing 50-50 maybe, getting the nutrients from the frozen. But I'm best of both worlds sort of thing, but also the worst of both worlds. I actually have plans to kind of like increase my setup here, and maybe, I don't know, like it'd be cool to like do some sort of like ASMR sort of like setup, or I don't know, just a higher quality sort of visual for this. Multiple cameras of eating the raw meat. That'd be interesting. Muscle meat, it's very easy to eat. It really has not much flavor at all. It's easy for me to say. Like a lean steak like this, it's hard to imagine that, somebody wouldn't be able to get this down. It's just ridiculously easy. Almost out of my fat, actually. I've got a lot more, but I thought this would be plenty, but it wasn't. You know what really throws me off? When somebody is like put off by me eating raw meat. That actually really throws me off because like since I've been doing this, almost nobody has a problem with this at all. But when somebody does have a problem with it, it like throws me off. It's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Like, what do you mean this is strange to you? Like, what do you mean you're disgusted by this? What do you mean do I still eat that raw meat stuff? Like, of course I do. Like, what's wrong with you? It's weird to me when people have an issue with this. Like in real life, like you could feel like that, those judgmental eyes. It's just like, you just want to like laugh at them. Like, ha ha ha. No, okay, that was weird, but it's just like they don't get it. Like, oh, you poor thing. You'll never understand. You'll never understand the truth. You'll never see the light of the raw meat, the raw flesh. Looking delicious. I think I may, once I run out of all of the fresh or frozen organs from Frankie, I don't know, I want to do like an experiment with only fresh foods just to see. And no frozen food at all for like maybe a week, just to experiment, and if it goes well, do it even longer. But I could do this all day. You know, this, and I guess that I'd just do egg yolks and then try to order like some fresh dairy. That is everything. Now, just, you know, gonna go on a little walk, listen to some music, and I'll also mention, if you guys are interested in joining my Discord, in the description at the very bottom, you'll hit the About option, and then that'll take you to a page that shows you my email. Go ahead and email me if you're interested. Send me your Discord username. I'll add you. And then, yeah, if you still want to join the Discord group, then I'll definitely invite you in. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day.